Charles Lindbergh, known as the Lone Eagle, became famous for flying solo in the Spirit of St. Louis from New York to Paris in 1927. It was here at Southerfield in Americus, Georgia that Lindbergh flew his very first solo flight in a surplus airplane that he bought from this once World War I training center. The airplane was a Curtiss JN-4 Genie that cost him $500. This sculpture, created by William J. Thompson, marks Lindbergh's first solo flight here at Southerfield, which was renamed to the Jimmy Carter Regional Airport in 2009. Today we're going to explore some places in two Georgia towns in Sumter County, Americus and Plains, that relate to the life of another famous person, Jimmy Carter. So buckle up. I am in downtown Americus, Georgia. I first acquired some local information from the visitor center located in this beautiful structure called the Municipal Building. The kind gentleman there told me of a couple of spots to explore before heading out to Jimmy Carter's hometown of Plains. This is Jimmy Carter, our 39th president. This is the Windsor Hotel, which hosted many famous people in the past. Let's go inside. This article shows the owner, Sharad Patel, and his wife hosting Jimmy and Rosalind Carter at their overnight stay in the Windsor. This was back in November of 2002. They obviously stayed in the presidential suite. Since Jimmy Carter slept there, it was appropriately renamed the Carter Presidential Suite. The desk clerk said I could take a brief video in the lobby. This place is exquisite. It looks like a palace, and it was built in 1892. Directly across the street from the Windsor is where Jimmy Carter would frequently get his haircut. This barbershop is called Soapy's. They even have a vegetable stand out front. Here's a photo of Jimmy Carter and the owner, Soapy. I had to show y'all this old shoe shine bench. Now it's time that we travel to Plains, Georgia, the home of Jimmy Carter. It was only about 10 miles from Americus to Plains. The gentleman back at the visitor center said that the local sightseeing train may be at the depot. Now, wouldn't that be cool? There's the Plains, Georgia Water Tower. So on this building billboard are all the points of interest here in Plains. So you can go and visit the high school that Jimmy Carter attended. You can go to his boyhood home. You got Billy Carter's service station. Every year there's a Plains Peanut Festival. Of course, all this is part of the National Park Service, the Jimmy Carter National Historic Site. You have the Plains Depot and Sam's Short Line, which, by the way, the train is here today. And you can go to the church that Jimmy and Rosin are members of.
Behind me is the Sam's Railroad.
The historic Sam's Short Line Railroad is a one-day excursion train which usually travels between Cordell and Plains, Georgia. The train depot, built in 1888.
This is where Jimmy Carter ran his presidential campaign back in the 70s.
Before I go inside, I'm going to enjoy this rocking chair. The depot contains many artifacts from the Jimmy Carter presidential campaign. It is restored to its 1976 appearance. And, as the sign says, this depot is the only available building in Plains with a restroom. By the way, this restroom is no longer in service. Walter Mondale was Jimmy Carter's running mate. Carter wins the presidency!
This is Jimmy's brother, Billy's old gas station.
This service station was constructed in 1952. Billy owned and operated it from 1972 to 1981. It was always a popular spot for both visitors and of the media. Do you need me to top off that fuel? He even had his own beer. Billy died of pancreatic cancer at age 51. We will visit his gravesite later. Over half of all the peanuts in the United States are grown in Georgia. On Main Street, you will find a lot of opportunities to get your Jimmy Carter souvenirs.
Now I'm fixing to walk down Hudson Street to the Plains Baptist Church.
Thank you to the Plains Fire Department for their brave service for this community. Up ahead is the Plains Baptist Church. Earl and Lillian Carter attended services here with their children, Jimmy, Ruth, Gloria, and Billy.
The Plains Baptist Church is one of the most scenic churches in this area.
Just a short walk from the Plains Baptist Church on Hospital Street is the Lillian G. Carter Health and Rehabilitation Center.
This is where Jimmy Carter was born.
When this was the Y Sanitarium, Lillian Carter gave birth to Jimmy on October 1st, 1924. He would become the first president to be born in a hospital. Jimmy's mom would become a registered nurse while serving at the Y Sanitarium. In 2001, this facility was established and dedicated in memory of her. I have just walked over to the Old Plains High School, which was built back in 1921. Jimmy and Rosalind attended high school here.
Come on in.
The high school is now a visitor center and a museum which contains many exhibits of Jimmy Carter's life and career. The high school is restored to look like it did when Jimmy was attending.
Teacher, can I go to the restroom?
The highlight for me at this museum was to see in person the Nobel Peace Prize that was presented to Jimmy Carter on October 11, 2002. Jimmy Carter sought peace in international conflicts, advanced democracy and human rights, and promoted economic and social development. He also gave full support to the Habitat for Humanity, which builds homes for the needy. The last graduating class from Plains High School was in 1979. Let's walk back to town. I will need to drive to the remaining locations that we will explore.
Well, I had to take me a Coca-Cola break by this Coca-Cola sign.
I am at the Marantha Baptist Church right outside of town. The Carters joined here in 1981, and Jimmy Carter frequently in the past taught Sunday school to members and visitors alike.
Look at this big peanut.
This peanut, known as the Smiling Peanut, is one of the top 50 roadside attractions in America. It was created for the 1976 Carter presidential rally in Evansville, Indiana. It is located between Marantha Baptist Church and downtown. It was just recently announced that Jimmy Carter is receiving hospice care because of his declining health. His grandson entertained him by juggling. So I decided to juggle these bags of Georgia peanuts in front of the Smiling Peanut.
I am here at the Jimmy Carter Boyhood Farm.
The Jimmy Carter Boyhood Farm is located down Old Plains Highway. Carter's family moved to this location in 1928. Jimmy was 4. This is how the farm looked when he grew up here.
I am here at the Jimmy Carter Boyhood Farm, hanging out with Peanuts right here. I'm sorry guys, this is one building you just can't follow me into.
James Earl Carter Sr. and his family lived in this house. Lillian and James's children were, from the oldest to the youngest, Jimmy, Gloria, Ruth, and Billy.
This is Jimmy's bedroom. The bathroom. Here's the dining room. And a breakfast room. Earl and Lillian's bedroom. The living room. Gloria and Ruth's bedroom. Here's some South Georgia wasp.
After leaving Jimmy Carter's boyhood farm on Old Plains Highway heading back into town, I am now at the Lebanon Cemetery. The Lebanon Cemetery dates back to 1848 and is where Jimmy's mother and father are buried. Billy is also buried in the same plot. If you visit this cemetery, look for the information placard, and their gravesite is just a few plots behind it.
Now I'm here at Plains's haunted house.
Just a short distance from the Lebanon Cemetery is the Rylander House. Built in the 1850s, this is one of the oldest houses in the county. Over the years, it has stimulated the imagination of the residents of Plains with many ghost stories. There are even two secret rooms that were discovered. One was under some floorboards, which revealed a cavity that contained a ladder and a chair. Jimmy and Rosalind Carter rented this house from 1956 to 1961. I hope they soon open this house to the public. If you want to learn more about the story of the Rylander House, then look at the link in my description. Our adventure comes to an end at the Jimmy and Rosalind Carter compound. They lived just a walk away from the church where they were married back in 1946. As I mentioned back at the Smiling Peanut, Jimmy's health is not so good and is living in his residence, being comforted by his family at his side and by the grateful care of hospice. Just as Charles Lindbergh made that brave solo flight across the Atlantic, Jimmy Carter's bravery to make a difference will allow him to be able to leave a proud legacy. Born from humble beginnings, marrying his high school sweetheart, fathering his children Jack, Chip, Jeff, and Amy, graduating from the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis and serving his country, becoming a Georgia governor, being elected to our 39th United States President, winning the Nobel Peace Prize, and always believing in equal rights for all mankind. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe and hit that bell so you will be notified when I release my next video. I will see you all the next time.